All right, so had a request. Somebody had mentioned, hey, how about do a companion video to the, how much to save for retirement kind of thing with, things you can do to save while you're retired. So I'm going to kind of touch on those things today with a few items that I found that I think are helpful. And then I found a couple different layers to this. So I'm probably going to make maybe a two-parter, maybe three. We'll see how it goes. I'm trying to enjoy my last day in Florida weather before I go back to Northern Illinois and 4 to 6 inches of snow or whatever the heck we got up there. Anyway, here we are. So one of the key things I think for anybody in retirement and even before retirement is that you need to create and have a detailed budget. You need to know what your expenses are. You need to know what your income levels are. And then you need to track that stuff pretty consistently because, and I made a comment to this on my comments today to somebody else, as soon as you stop paying attention to your money is when you start to lose it, right? So it's not how much you make, it's how much you keep and how much you keep control of and monitor. So always keep that in mind. And you need to have some flexibility when you're retired, obviously, because your expenses can change and you need to be aware of those and don't be like at the minimum or at the maximum of your money. If you got $2,000 a month coming in, you don't want to spend $2,000 a month. You want to try to keep an edge there, some slack, so you have something to work with. All right, second point I'd like to make here, and I've stressed this a lot, and that is managing your debt or eliminating your debt completely if you can, but especially anything that's a high interest. Anything that's going to make the interest is double more than what you're making on your investments, at least. Anything over 8%, 9%, you need to be paying off quickly. And then if you use those cards, pay them off every month because you don't accrue the debt. It doesn't accrue interest until after the fact. So if you're eliminating that monthly amount every month and always paying them off, you never have debt that's going to go up with interest rates. Okay, so we use our credit card. We have a great credit card actually that's got a very low interest rate to begin with. We pay it off every month. I have another Allegiant credit card because I use Allegiant to fly most of the time. So we have that to book flights and then to get points. But that's a higher rate, and we never, ever consider carrying a balance on that card. So managing those credit card debts is also key. But if not having any debt is obviously the best way to go if you can manage it. All right, this next one is going to be a little bit controversial because everybody's got an opinion, and that's okay, right? These are just my opinions as well. Assess your housing costs. You may need to consider downsizing. You may not be able to manage the debt that goes with having a big house, having to mow yard, having to take care of snow removal like we do in Illinois, lowering your insurance rates, minimizing the impact of maintenance on your weekly and monthly expenses. You're now on a fixed income. You don't have as many opportunities to go make extra or to save extra. So you need to consider those things when you talk about your housing and property taxes. All those things add up, and they're not going down, right? Inflation even if inflation goes down, it doesn't really go down. It just slows how fast it grows, how fast it goes up. So save money if you can. And it may be time to change your housing, okay? Something to consider. We're not necessarily saving by renting, but we are definitely saving the property management and the maintenance costs and all those other things. All right, this next one is a big one, and that's managing your healthcare expenses. And unfortunately, there's not a lot of things we can do when it comes to managing healthcare because we don't determine the expense. We don't determine the cost. It's done through third parties. It's done through networking where they figure out what they're willing to pay and they negotiate the rates. And your premiums are always going to go up. I don't see anything ever saying that insurance rates are going to get better. So one of the things you can do is make sure you're taking care of and capitalizing on HSA if you have available. Putting money away for that because then you can use it for those medical expenses that pop up that you're not prepared for financially. And of course, taking better care of yourself and doing those maintenance visits, right? See your doctor once a year, get your blood work checked, do the standard average things that everybody should do to know where they're at and know if they're getting better or worse. And then you can maintain better if you know where you're at. All right, and lastly today, just talking about managing your finances, part of it, section of this material is delay your Social Security if you have to. If you're one of those people that you don't have a lot saved, you don't have, like I have a pension to work with, you may not have a pension. My pension's not great, but it's better than nothing, right? Combined with my Social Security, combined with the ability to work if I want to part-time, combined with the fact that my wife is still going to work, all those things add up. But if you're not one of those people, if you're a single, if it's just you and your spouse is unable to work, whatever the case may be, if you can continue and you're healthy and you want to keep working, keep working. You don't have to retire at a magical number. That number is determined upon you and your health, okay, and you and your circumstances. So, you go when you're ready, not when the world tells you to go. When you're ready to go. All right, so that's all I got for today. Like I said, I think I might make this a two-parter because I got some strategies now that talk about investments and that kind of stuff. Nothing particular because I'm not an expert, but come back for part two. And as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.